Welcome from my side to Upstart Online 2021. My name is Jan Ameri and I'm Executive Chairman at Arctic Startup, and we organized a other event called Arctic 15, organized in Helsinki the springtime and Stockholm. And let's see what new cities we're going to be coming up in there soon. And of course, we're writing news at ArcticStartup.com, writing news about funding rounds, exits, and everything. But today is not about Arctic Startup or about me. It's about how do you close deals, and it's a lot about the mindset of sales, which is not easy, and you're gonna get a lot of no's. So basically, today we're gonna go. I'll tell you a little bit what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through a few key elements and process and ways on how do you influence your prospects. This is super important. And when they're gonna get objection, they will say no, I don't like this, whatever objecting. We'll play around a little bit. How do you go around with their objection to be able to close the deal? And then we'll wrap up this session with an example, real life example for myself when I closed a deal with Gary Vaynerchuk a couple of years ago. And I'll walk you through that deal and how I got through from a rejection to actually closing the deal, basic. And then please, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them on the chat. I'll be following there, and more interactive session we can have, the better I feel. So I'm here for you. So I think we're ready to start. So let's go then. And as the very first part of when you're trying to convince somebody to buy something for you or basically to anything, we talk about influencing. So is it somebody buying for you something, or getting your child to eat the morning porridge? You need to be able to convince the people, and that's called influencing. So you need to think about how you can actually influence the other people to be aligned with you, and that's the way we are starting to then getting to get them excited and closing the deal, buying from you. So basically, if we go a little bit more in details there, obviously when you're discussing with a person, you need to be able to build the rapport. And how do you earn the attention and the respect of a person when you're discussing with them? Obviously, you need to be able to show plenty of interest for the other person. And how do you show that? Well, you have 2 ears and one mouth. So the old wisdom, listen more, and ask questions. Because by asking questions, you show that you're really interested in and the more personal questions you can go into, the better rapport you can build with the other person. Like if you know about them, about their family situation, or maybe they went on a vacation. If you have any little personal information about the other person, this will help you to build the rapport and get your aligned on that. So basically, and of course, it's so important to be empathetic to other person and really truly show that you care about the other person. Because if you just care about yourself, why would they care about you? So it's super important that you really need to think about the other person. So I think this is there any questions related to like a building rapport? Is there anyone in the chat? At least not at the moment. But please just make quick notes. I will not dig into too much deep into various of the all of these things, but bit by bit. So, but if you have any questions, please. So listen, ask questions, show genuine interest. Of course, if you do little, your due diligence, you prepare for your meeting or your call or whatever. That's just the do little prepping work of the person, and show that you are exactly Amanda. Yes, you need to be interested to be interesting. That's correct. Thank you for that comment there. Okay, let's move a little bit forward. And then when you are building your, let's say, sales pitch, whatever you want to be conveying or getting people convinced, you need to think very carefully. What do you want to say? How do you want to say it? And super important is about the timing, when to say it. I'm not gonna go into the details of what exactly to say. This varies obviously on any case, and is it your product, service, or trying to convince the child to eat the porridge in the morning, but this is so important. But it has to make sense to the other person. And this is something a little bit related to being interested in the other person, but also knowing and asking the right questions, that what kind of things trigger their interest. So you need to be able to align your communication ways, your words, your kind of like those triggers. You need to it needs to make sense to the other person, not only to you. So this is super important. Like you, when you're writing your sales deck or pitches, like for a moment, step on the other side of the table and get a feeling of how would they kind of like feel about it. And then maybe you can even test it with your colleague or a friend before going straight to the client. So always think about what you're gonna say it, how you're gonna say it, and then also the rhythm and the timing and when to say it. And of course, any plan you make, it's gonna be some weird answer or question coming back to you, and then you need to be able to adapt how you're gonna answer there. So you need to be able to follow the flow of the conversation and importantly, remember those asking those questions where you can get the key information about which way the direction to go, basically. But remember what to say, how to say, and when to say it. This is super important. Okay, let's take the next step. And now we're moving towards the decision making. Where are the buying decisions made? It's made in the lizard brain, which is like the back of your brain, not in your front of the brain. And how do you need to think about how can you touch personal emotions? Because for real, humans make buying decisions based on emotion, and then they use the facts, the numbers, the figures, the proof to justify that I feel that I'm right. I feel this decision of eating this porridge or buying this product is right for me. So this is super important for you to think about how the sale or the purchase process. How are you making decisions? And be prepared to kind of like you need to talk to the lizard brain, not to the facts. You need to present the facts, but you need to be able to talk and act like, how do you say it, like a boost and trigger those emotions, right? And then those has to be feeling good, feeling comfortable. And you so the research shows actually that 95% of the thinking takes place in our unconscious minds. And that's a really important part of when you want somebody to commit, make a deal, say yes, you want to get the yes. And it's super important. You need to, when we don't talk about the how do you build your message. So now you learn more about where to target the message and how to put. And then if you want to dig a little bit deeper into this subject, I very much recommend you to ordering and reading this book called Neuromarketing. It has a lot of very interesting insights on the how the lizard brain and the decision making in the human works. So Neuromarketing is the name of the book. So check that out. All right, let's move to the next thing. And this is when I see a lot of startup pitch decks. I see a lot of different sales decks or sales pitches, also venture capitalists. And biggest lack that I see quite often is actually the lack of a big vision. If you want to convince somebody to do something with you, you need to have a really big vision and to be able to convey that you really believe in your big vision. So anybody who can believe in your vision, they can jump off my back. I'm pulling this van, and if you believe in my mission, join me. And then the good example, obviously, what I put here on the screen is Elon Musk. Hey, I want to go to Mars, and that's really big vision. Who wants to go to Mars with me, basically? So that's very clear, and then it's easy for anyone to be aligned. So when you're thinking, even if you feel, oh, I'm just selling, chewing gum or whatever my SaaS platform. You still need to have the big vision. Maybe you want to change the world with a specific thing, or you want to improve person's life or something, but you need to be able, whatever you're doing, come up with a big vision where you can have everybody else to align with you. Is this clear? Do you have any questions related to this? Do I see anybody comments? No. Okay. But make a markings. Big vision. Big vision is super important for, and this has to be like when you're making your sales presentations, when you're making your pitch decks, whatever. Put that at the top. This is the big vision. There's a change the world, something meaningful. You're doing that. So put that, and then you can start building the part of supporting and dropping those facts. But remember, the emotions is what triggers the decisions. The facts are just supporting. Okay? Super. Big vision is the key. And then with just a very practical tip, you have to know and understand who is the buyer. And then you need to figure out how are you going to identify, is this the person who is the right buyer? Does this person have the budget for me to buy this, or do they have the decision making power, or is there somebody that they need to ask for the permission to close the deal or sign off a contract? So then you need to be, before spending too much time, you need to be one way or another find out, is this the person you're discussing with? Do they actually have the decision power? And then don't be shy. Don't be shy. Just ask for it. Okay? Ask, what's your budget? Do you need permission from somebody? Can you make the decision? Find that 1, 2 questions for you to be able to get the information you need, that you don't waste time on talking to a wrong person who might be super excited about whatever you're selling, but then in the end they can't make the decisions, and then it's wasted time on both sides. So just a small detail, but very important. You need to know who you're talking with. Are they able to actually buy from you? Okay. And then we go to the super critical part, which very often I see many salespeople are shy, or they're not confident in doing this. You need to ask for the sale. Just ask, because nobody, very rarely, are willing to just tell you I'm buying this. You need to ask one way or another, are we good to move forward? Is there something you want to add? Are we good to go with this? Always when you send an email or offer a presentation or offer, please ask to close the deal. Like this guy in the picture I chose, he might be easy target to, like 2 minutes after this match is over, you might be able to sell him bandage or a bag of ice because he really needs it. But otherwise, people don't usually ask the sales themselves. So it must be you who's gonna ask for the sale. Okay, super. Joseph, what do you mean by the band in the beginning? I don't understand what you mean, but please can you expand, Joseph? And then while waiting for him, we will move forward. And now, when you ask for the sale, okay, we'll check on that a little bit later on the band. Clear, okay? But when you ask for the sale, typically you will face objections, rejections, all kinds of excuses or valid reasons. For you, it's super important to find out about what is this objection about, and then you need to agree on, okay, I understand this might be sounds too expensive for you, or maybe it's not right for you for today, but then you need to find the ways around the objections and always looping it back to the positive benefits of whatever you're selling or offering you. It's super important to remember to loop it back to the big vision. Remember, hey, they like the big vision. They're in your wagon, going the same direction. So it's super important when they say no or I don't know, then just ask the questions, find a way around it. The no is not a no. I'm telling you, no is not a no. When they tell you third time no, or sometimes they said hell no, then okay, move on. But one, two times no, dig in deeper, try to get around it. So literally figure out the objections, find the ways around it. They always, almost always, there are ways for you to ask the right questions to get more information about the objections. And then if it's just an excuse, it will be so much easier for you to reduce down the friction and go around and then getting closer to closing the deal, basically. So, but remember the big vision, looping it back. Super. And then how much time we? Oh, time is going so fast. So let's move then to the probably the moment that most of you have been waiting for. So basically, how I closed the deal with celebrity investor Gary Vaynerchuk after he said no to me. So I'll walk, and of course that's objection, and then how do we overcome the objections? And there we go. So about 6 years ago, Gary Vaynerchuk was speaking here in Helsinki in the Nordic Business Forum. Great event, and then I met him there. And I went, oh, I've been thinking of Gary would be so strategic partner for me for the future. I like to work with him as a business partner. And then so I was the last person to talk to him before he jumped on the taxi and to the airport. And I just threw an offer to him. And he told me, I've never thought about such offer, but send me an email. And of course, his email is public information, gary@vaynermedia.com. And then I send an email, no response, another no response, another couple of no response. Took a while, and well, he said, then send me an email. So maybe there's something. So then I continued. I changed my tactic. I wrote him the offer straight on the subject line. And then what I did, I tweeted to him, offer in your inbox. 6 minutes later, I received an email. Let's talk after Christmas. Then Christmas came. Then we had our call, was canceled once, canceled twice. And then finally we had a call with him. And then he was like, okay, send me your deck, blah, blah, blah. Let's talk later. And then we sent him deck. And then a couple of days later, I received this email. This was already in February. After much debate, I had to pass due to being too busy and prioritizing. So basically, Gary's saying no, but he's giving reason why he's saying no. He said he's too busy and he needs to prioritize stuff. So I'm thinking, I don't want to let this deal go away. So let me regroup my thoughts, squeeze it down, and then how do I overcome this objection? If we had a little bit more time, if we were in a real life workshop setting, we could play around a little bit more on this, and I would give you like to have a guess what kind of wording and commenting I used then to convert this objection to a positive response. So I thought for a while, and then I said, okay, I'm not going to give him too much choices here. I'm going to be very clear on addressing exactly him being too busy and prioritizing. And this is my response, what I replied. We highly value your time, so we will find a solution that not required much of your time. See, reducing his objection down and then still giving him a solid foothold in the Nordics. And I have an idea, new proposal. We have a quick chat about it in Dublin next week because we were talking in the same concert with him. And then you see how I addressed his concerns and objections, and then what he said. Okay, let me know. So I was able to very specifically go around his objection and then agree him to have a discussion in Dublin next week, right? And then Dublin next week, we had a discussion. I presented my deal and an offer, and we shook hands, and it was a deal done. And ever since, Gary's been part of ArcticStartup story. And then next year after that, he came to be speaking in my event in Arctic 15 Helsinki, and he shaved my head on the stage. We were settling one bet from Stockholm early on. So this was like a very brief. I would like to, if you have, we could spend 1 hour, 2 hour on this topic. Of course, it's a very important topic, but this was just a brief discussion on the topic. So if you have any questions, I'm here now to answer, and then I will be jumping to the Q&A part for a little while at least, so we could continue there, basically. So what time do we have? We have actually a couple of minutes time. I think it was until 25, or is it finished? Can anybody tell me my contact details? Sure, you can at arcticstart.com. Can I just type it here in the read it in the chat. Any more questions right now? Well, if there isn't any more further questions for here, well, Joseph, what is it to save time? Ask for budget and authority right in the beginning. When is the best earliest time to ask for it? Okay, yes, obviously, when you're starting the negotiation discussion with somebody, asking the budget, it might be a little bit more like not in details perhaps, but you can ask about the budget range early on, and then of course the decision making power as soon as possible to identify that one. Ask as soon as possible, is this the right person? And then after that you can go on the range of the budget. You can, it's like a being more soft. Don't just ask, do you have the money? And always start from the what's your target for the next year, or what you want to achieve, and then you work, and then you go for what your budget range for this. So maybe perhaps start slow and don't attack too straight on the numbers, but depends, of course it depends on your product or your service. If you have fixed price product, then it's much more easier, but if you have multiple service layers or different packages, then you have more maneuverability there and there. So it's like case by case, but absolutely ask early on about the, can they make the decision and what kind of budget they have for this. Okay, Alex is saying new part of the Gary V story you've heard. Super. Yeah, there's more Gary stories to come, and hopefully many more in the future still. Joseph saying, hey, Joseph, you're welcome. No problem. Anybody else? If not here, I think we can wrap it up on this screen and then catch you on the metaverse side. If you want to come and ask me further questions, it can be related to this or anything. Feel free to ask there. So I'm Jan Ameri from ArcticStartup, and thank you for listening.